actually one of the most important, I would say, is know your vessel. Know what it's good at, know what it's not good at. And for example, I have an Old Town Autopilot 120. So it is super heavy. It weighs 156 pounds before the battery, myself, and all my gear and electronics. And I have a motor. So obviously dragging basically a 200-pound kayak 50 yards down a bank to a creek with a trolling motor that basically can only operate if it has at least a foot of water is not going to be your ideal candidate for ultra shallow river floats. So as much as I love this big fancy kayak on the ocean, this is not good for floating. I would be better off with a $100 used Walmart kayak for floating, and it would be way better, because even if you can pop the motor up, of course, you can bring the rudder up, you can do all of that in a second, you can paddle, and then you can drop it back down. People do that in rivers, but if you have to drag it 20 yards over some gravel, it's gonna suck because this kayak is really, really heavy. And the same goes if you're in a floating kayak that's a sit-in, and it's 10 foot and it's really narrow, and it's great for hopping in and out and dragging it and sitting in it and paddling and going fast. You don't really necessarily want to take that on the bay when you've got yachts ripping by and you're hooked into redfish, right? So I've actually had a lot of people want to bring their own kayaks on the charter, which I totally understand. I love it. People love their own kayaks. They want the guiding experience. They want the fishing knowledge, and they want to come hang out. They like the channel. They just want to come hang out and fish and have a good time. So they book a charter, but they want to be on their own vessel. And one time, one guy brought a touring kayak, which if you don't know is super long, ultra narrow, and sit in. And we were under the bridge fishing for redfish with a ton of boats ripping by, and I was so nervous. So if that guy were to tip, first of all, it's hard to get back in. Those sit-ins fill up with water, would have sunk, and would have been a nightmare in the middle of a bridge in saltwater, surrounded by sharks, tons of other people in big old boats. That would have been a nightmare. So know your vessel, know the limitations. Are you trying to go straight distance, but you don't need stability? Do you want to stand up and fish? Okay, probably don't want to do a $200 Walmart kayak. Those are not stable and meant to be stood up on. Do you want to be able to stand up and have ultra stability and have absolutely no issues turning around, casting, fighting big fish? Great, maybe you want a kayak like this, except the problem is you won't want to use this kayak on rivers in a lot of other situations. So the point is, know your vessel, keep yourself safe. One kayak does not fit all, and there are so many situations that this big, fancy, expensive kayak, my whole fleet, would be absolutely worthless in shallow areas and other stuff like that. Places where you have to have ultra portability. In fact, I trailer all of these kayaks. I have a triple trailer for the 3 I take out on the charter, and you might not want to trailer it. So if you get a kayak like this, you're probably gonna want to trailer at some point. And most people who own kayaks don't want trailers. So point is, know your vessel, know what it's capable of, and know what you're capable of. So in summary,